tiny country in West Africa. I don't like using that word, colonized.
It was colonized.
Well, okay, for
It's
want of,
French
yeah,
by France. Yeah,
by France. And
it was a French colony.
incidentally, you see, that is why I don't understand.
Just let me see if you can share this
Okay,
on
YouTube.
on Facebook. The share.
Yeah.
So this is going live now by yeah, where, yeah, share. We'll see how we are experimenting with this. Share.
My good friend is a tech man.
To Facebook, to
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah. So what I was saying that it's a West African country, landlocked country, bordered by almost all the countries in West Africa: Libya, Nigeria, Republic of Benin, and
Algeria.
Algeria. Yeah. So why I'm saying this, because there was a coup in the Niger Republic on the 26th of July this year.
And it removed.
And it removed the so-called democratically elected.
Why are you saying so-called?
Yeah, we just democratically elected president. The reason why I say so-called, because it is very rare, very, very rare to find an African person that is democratically elected. That's why I say so-called. Anyway, that's the issue.
Isn't it strange? Now, East Africa or some parts of it are doing.
Okay, not the whole of Africa, but okay. So, I want to focus on West Africa now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very strange to find a democratically elected government or system in place in Africa as I speak. Right from Togo, you have Yadema, it's like bringing his children and children generation to govern Togo. Okay, Cameroon might not be part of ECOWAS. But if you just go, I think Ivory Coast. The other day I saw President Ouattara talking that they want to promote they must try to institute democracy. ECOWAS must make sure they stand their grounds on this with Niger. Whereas this man changed the constitution of his country to go for a third term.
Yeah, it's contradiction. Yeah.
I mean, that is why I'm just saying they should put their effort in making sure that all member states of ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States, are governed properly. So if there is bad governance in one country and the military, unfortunately, replaces the government, everybody will shout. The so-called member states will be up in arms. No, we want to. You can't replace a legitimate. They use that word, legitimate government. What makes it legitimate? When you force yourself on people.
Yeah. The problem, the difficulty, CY, is, sovereignty.
Yeah.
And it's like catch-22. If you try to change the government, or to make sure that it is running properly, you will be interfering in that country. If you leave it, then if you allow it to these officers, young military officers, for some reason they have the belief that they will do better than the civilian. Why nobody is yet able to answer this particular question, but somehow they seem to be motivated, thinking that they can do better than the civilians, and they fail. And once they are there for 1-2 years, then corruption, bad management, maybe insurgency, and all this will result in putting back the people in a situation which was worse than before.
But African politicians, they don't learn. I mean, you find series of coups in one country. Why is it so? I mean, let's just focus on ECOWAS first.
Yeah.
ECOWAS has almost about 15 countries making up the economic community of West African states.
Yeah.
And out of these 15, more than half of it were francophone countries. And 78% of the 27 coups in sub-Saharan Africa have taken place in the former French colonies. Why is that so?
Yeah.
Not only that, why there are a series of why question. Now there have been coups in Mali, the member state of ECOWAS, coup in Gabon, a member state of ECOWAS. What has ECOWAS done? Is it because Niger is a very tiny country and they think they can? There's a proverb in Nigeria that, look, as small as a needle is, a fowl cannot swallow it. Because you want to create, because the world system is changing now, you want to create one person referred to it as European Cup final in Niger between the West and Russia, and possibly Chinese. They want to play their final match in West Africa.
But
And
is that true characterization of
that is the way they read it. I mean, I would want to believe that too, if you want to drag this to the logical conclusion. Because France has used Niger natural resources for a very long time, almost for free. See, look at the state of Niger. And all the system they use is, I mean, like one song, Felaran song, Kuti song, they say they will use one useless chief. They'll give this chief maybe large amount of what he regards as large amount of money. Then he will sell out his own people because of that.
So you blame the French?
No, I don't blame the French. I blame us. I blame us. Maybe it's the French are using. I want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe the French are using our stupidity to their own advantage. Put it that way. And who wouldn't? Because they have an interest to protect. But how long will someone be very stupid? Because there will be a point where you wake up from your slumber and say, "Oh, what have I done to myself?" I think the francophone countries in West Africa are beginning to wake up. Almost half of their reserve in Paris, the central bank of France.
But
is it?
Are you describing the coups that is a wake up?
You might. I know where you are going. You might say the coup might not resolve
will.
Okay, will not. What will? You say you continue with bad governance. You continue with coups, series of coups, but this time with civilian uniform.
I think let us agree on something. If democracy is not gonna get it right, if participation and all this, if we work on improving democracy.
How do you improve democracy?
Yeah, we work on it. It's not a religion. It's not God-given thing. Democracy is a work in progress.
You can only. Sorry, because this is making me. I'm getting worked up. You can only improve. You can only improve on something you know about. You can't improve on something you don't know, because you'll be improving nothing.
And that's what is wrong with these coups. You just guys who volunteers to carry arms and come.
Okay, let's forget about coup. How do you improve on democracy?
Yeah.
How long will it take?
This is we know that democracy is got this property of self-correcting, and the main test of democracy is when you get the term going on, and then people will know that this guy is not, or this group or this party are not helping the country. They will eventually change it and keep on trying this. And that is one thing, that one aspect, that the but the most important aspect of democracy, it opens up opportunity to everyone and participation, and it
Supposedly,
somehow
supposedly,
compared to the
supposedly,
military.
supposedly.
Yeah. It's happening. It's happening in places like Kenya. Why not can happen in other places? Even in Gambia, we see it is happening. It will eventually improve. I would give, I always give a chance to democracy. It will never ever get it right the first time round. They will never do that. But again, to interrupt the process, and this is the danger of it, to interrupt the whatever you are making up reasons, you are just allowing things to get worse and worse, and it will never ever get to that point. Complain any day.
Look, people are tired.
Tired of
Are
what?
tired of the so-called practice of democracy. In fact,
And they're
see,
not tired of, they're not tired of coups.
it is not even.
But you are promoting coup d'etat.
I'm not promoting. No, I'm not.
By the sound of it.
No, by condemning the type of practice of democracy
But
in those. Hold on, let me
you know
finish
how
first.
to reform it, not by coups.
No. But
Let us agree on this. If we agree on this,
okay,
I think we're going to make a progress.
Okay, what's
Democracy may not work perfectly as you want, but ultimately, the key word to the ills of democracy will never ever to have guys carrying Kalashnikov on top of tanks walking into the Republican Palace.
Yes, okay.
That is not going to solve anything.
I agree on that statement. Okay. But at the same time, how do you clean up bad practices? How would you make democracy work?
Let us work on it.
No, you can't work on what you are working on. If you know how do you make it work?
It's not going to be easy.
I know it won't be easy, but at least you can see that it's improving. Mm. But when you take about 3 steps forward and you take about 6 backward, are you moving?
Why are you 6? What really makes you?
Well, I will tell you, because of greed and corruption and interference, external, internal, all over the thing, that is not making it work. The practice of democracy is very difficult, I tell you, because not everybody will even appreciate what you're trying to do. But perception, it's very, very real, especially in that part of the world. They see you, okay, you're taking us to a path. You said, okay, it will be very difficult, but they are seeing you living large, and you're telling people that they're making life very miserable for other people. Is that democracy?
Yes, it is democracy. Yes, it is democracy, and that is bad way of running. But how? Give me an alternative.
Okay.
Give me the alternative.
No. I mean, there is no. As far as I'm concerned, the people should, as part of democracy as well, people should revolt without the army coming in, because they say one bad democratic government is better than the military coups and all the power. Well, what I'm just saying is, the people don't even have the strength anymore, because you go to the people when you are canvassing for votes. You don't go with military personnel. You don't go with armored car. You go in person and canvass for votes.
See why.
But hold on, let me finish. But once you get there, the people that even trooped out for you to vote for you will not see you again. You become like an invisible person, but like a wind, just sucking up all their resources, while the people are left dry. Is that democracy?
And solution.
That's what I'm saying. The solution, we're not saying it. We should promote. We should promote protest.
Yes.
But people, if you promote protest, you say you want to replace a legitimate government. What makes it legitimate?
What makes it legitimate? Because
Because they rigged the election, and you think it is legitimate.
now you're mixing.
Okay.
You're mixing everything up.
No,
rigging and see,
unless
we have
all those
unless
things,
we have
all those things that make democracy worse. That's why I'm mixing them up. Okay, go on.
Yeah. Ultimately, you won't be able to give me an alternative to that. You're never ever gonna give me an alternative to democracy trying to sort itself out. If you have one, give it to me now. You will never find one.
Protest.
Okay? Protest.
Yes.
Within the context of democracy.
Yes.
And that is what all democracy.
Yeah.
So you are giving me one tool.
No, I'm just telling you. I said the practice of democracy in Africa.
This
I'm
is
not
what
saying
I'm talking about.
I'm not just saying
practice.
that democracy itself is good or bad. The way they practice it in Africa,
Okay.
West Africa.
You give me one tool. That is just one tool in the covers of democracy. One tool. Protest.
And that is a very effective one.
But the problem with protest, if you protest in a democratic environment, that's okay. And you can always pursue this.
They won't. But you won't. In Africa, they will say they will use the army or the.
Yes, even in France, they will use something. Or there will be people dying, but you cannot say. And you know what happened in Nairobi and in Kenya the last few weeks.
Yeah.
We know this fact. So that was a protest. Whatever you think, and I know you've got your own ideas about what was going on, the essence of what was going on in you know this.
Yes.
But ultimately, there will always be digressions here and there by whoever it is.
Yeah, I mean, because we have various interests within a protest. Yeah.
Don't you think this is going to affect the government decision, say, because in Kenya the objection was into withdraw the subsidies and and the rise of the prices and the inflation,
cost of living,
the cost of living in Kenya. Don't you think the protest is worthless in this context, in a democratic? We still haven't perfected it, but at least we know that this is going to affect. So this is just one tool of democracy that possible. This is not going to be possible within, a democratic framework. And if people, and this is awareness now in the whole of Africa, unless people are able to see that by expressing your anger by that very short, sort of tempered and uneducated way, going out to support a group of military officers that decided to walk into the headquarters of the government. This is you expressing your anger, but in a wrong way. Mm-hmm. Unless we are able to get that awareness that no, it's not going to work. Who are they? Am I inviting devils, or who am I inviting?
You are not inviting anybody. They impose themselves. Look,
I will protest. I will write. I will do it because this is what democracy allows me in order to improve. I will open up my the fourth or the fifth branch of the government that is very, very important in democracy.
Yeah.
Freedom of press, exposing corruption, exposing the wrongs that the government is doing. Carrying on public opinion with me. It's not always going to be.
If they are not assassinated during that process,
it could possibly, but it will be worse under these military dictators. So
let's leave the military out of it. Let's focus on the practice of democracy.
Yeah.
Why would it take eternity for? Do you want to reinvent the wheel? I mean, democracy says, okay, hold on, let me just finish first. You say you have different arms of the government. You have the judiciary, the decision, the executive. Now, if the judiciary gives a ruling or an order and it's been ignored severally, how can you survive within that democratic framework?
Okay. You can ask all day questions, but you won't be able to give me, other ways of sorting it rather than the ways that I told you.
But I'm not asking.
You won't never
okay.
let me speak. The ways, the tools that I gave you: protest, exposure through freedom of press, direct action, demonstrations, whatever call it, canvassing, loyal, threatening to use your vote,
Yeah.
and where connect.
And during this process, you lose your life.
Yeah, it's possible, but I will definitely have a bullet in my skull if it's a military man up there. If it's a Bacha, we'll certainly get that. But if it's William Hutu, it's unlikely. It may happen, but it's unlikely. If it happened this time, happen next time, that democracy and exposure is going to put an end to this. So, yes, it's never this, and this is the issue that we human beings, we've never been able up to now to engineer a system of governance that is perfect. Up to now, whatever. This is what we have in our hand. It's similar to this when people started to blame France, and the colonial. I'm just moving to another area.
That's where I want to go now.
Yeah.
I'm not. Before we leave democracy, I'm not saying that military coup, just to get that one out of the way, military coup is preferred to democracy. But at the same time, democracy will need to be seen to be progressing positively, growing, maybe no matter the pace, but at least people will say, we did this 2 years ago, now we've left that nonsense, now we're progressing. But no, because there's so much greed as part of democracy. You have powerless people, we have powerful people, and how long will that continue?
How long?
Anyway, let's leave that one. I just
I just want to say, people like you, keep on nagging.
I will nag till I die.
Just a minute, nagging about democracy, without being able to give an alternative to that.
No,
this very proposition is given credence to coups, because you keep on nagging and nagging.
Are you saying bad governance is good, is preferred?
But worse, yes, it's preferred. Bad governance is preferred to worse, and loss of life. Yes.
Okay. You have NSAS. Yeah. Under democratic.
Take example.
Hold on.
Take example. Just allow me to give this example. Sudan won its independence in 1956. How many years now you're talking about?
67.
Out of this democracy, given the time that it needs just to have elections and all this, 10 democracy every single time lasted for 2 years only.
Yeah.
And people, because they know these guys who are not going to go out shoot you, are not going to lock you up for good.
Continue. Let me just stop. The fan is interfering.
Right. Okay. Keep on nagging. Yeah. Then military out there would come. So out of the 76 years of rule, ultimately democracy had only two
just a
10
few years
max.
Yeah.
Okay. and always been interrupted
Okay.
because of the very arguments that you are putting across.
But so,
You just
but okay,
happy to
okay,
not of democracy,
but why
but
does
you're not giving any
okay
alternative to
why
it.
does democracy always attract military coup?
Yeah, because these very arguments, because people keep on nagging it, not
Okay.
really fully understanding it,
Okay.
not really able to give it a chance. The ultimate test for democracy is when you allow next election to happen. But that in case of Sudan never happened. They've never had a full term,
Okay.
always interrupted because of this very fact. And they keep on doing this. By doing this and making all this fuss, they are inviting
The military.
their own death. And this is, unless we develop this uh, um, awareness, unless people become aware that democracy is not going to happen tomorrow.
Okay.
If this is not the case, we will
Democracy
go
is
on in this cycle
Yeah.
of thinking that democracy
You see.
is bad governance, and then we get the worst, that is
You know,
cool, and so on. And then after
in-
a while,
in conclusion, I would say the practice of democracy in especially West Africa has a lot to be desired. Full stop.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Now going back to Niger.
Mm,
So I said there was coup there on 26th of July.
mm.
And before then, there had been coups. We can put it on if you want.
No, it's okay.
There have been coups in Mali, as a member state of ECOWAS. There have been coup in Burkina Faso, member state.
Yeah,
But no, ECOWAS has never threatened any of these two countries with military intervention if they don't replace the deposed, democratically elected president. Why Niger?
but these were not elected. They were elected
In Mali?
in Mali.
Well, I mean, of course, yeah, they had the president there. In Gabon, they had the president there. But all these young people, military. But what I'm just saying, why did ECOWAS intervene in those two countries with the threat of military
Yeah, they did.
intervention?
The problem with this, it's easy to answer your question because they tried to put pressure economically. They closed the borders. The first time it happened, the same time it didn't work.
In which country? Those two
Yeah,
countries.
these are
Okay.
Burkina Faso and Mali.
Okay.
Both
Yeah.
in both cases,
And-
they face, particularly with Burkina Faso,
Yeah.
they face all these sanctions.
Yeah, and they sent
They've been expelled
yeah.
out of the AU and all this, and they ended up doing what? Inviting mercenaries to rule the country. Unless you believe that mercenaries are better.
You know,
Be-
they invited mercenaries. Why didn't ECOWAS say mercenaries? No,
Yeah,
you shouldn't enter ECOWAS.
They tried
territory.
means rather than, but it keep on happening. There must be a time when they need really to step in more forcefully, and it happened to be that time. We cannot judge on these issues of and
Yeah,
even in
you see
Nigeria.
what I'm just
let me, if you
okay, go on. Because I have a lot to say
yeah,
about
if we look at Nigeria, because
Yeah.
it's all about Nigeria,
Yeah.
there is a big brother that is there,
Mm.
which can affect things. Unfortunately, why? And answering your question, why they didn't interfere more forcefully in case of Burkina Faso and Mali.
Yeah.
One we just mentioned one reason that they tried but failed. The diplomatic and economic pressure didn't work, and the second reason is that at the time Nigeria used to have a sleeping president, which she never seemed to have waken up
Okay.
or knowing what is happening. Even is so.
I think-
I'm sorry to say this.
No. I mean, that is
we
your
will carry on.
that is your personal opinion. You know, I mean, you are entitled to it. I can't question it. But I think we'll carry on in next time when we'll come your way again, because the time is just, I didn't know that time is up, almost up.
Right.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Unfortunately, we didn't get any calls today.
Yeah, I mean, I
So,
just suppose maybe because of the
please,
carnival and
it's still,
everything.
you can always comment in on this. You can always send us WhatsApp messages or any text, even text on 074 555 9595. Please send us any comments on this.
Anytime at all.
Anytime,
Before the
anytime
next
of the
show.
day or
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Just send it through. We will read it next week.
Yes.
And discuss it with you next week.
Okay.
And if we have your number, we can ring you back.
Yeah.
If even you forget.
Exactly. Please do that. And until then, it's goodbye from me.
And
See why.
and goodbye from me, Jafar Ali.
Adabo.
Okay, thank you.